Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Spiritual Transformer. So, today I want to do something a bit different. Today, I'm going to talk about video games. It's one of my favorite passions, and I know this is a channel on spirituality. I'll try to tie what I'm about to discuss with something spiritual, but right now I just want to talk about it because video games are very near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, the news has been making the rounds, and if you're interested in video games, you already know it. That's right. PlayStation is going to stop selling physical discs probably at the end of 2027. So starting in 2028, there will be no more physical Blu-ray discs being sold for any new PlayStation games that are released after January 1st, 2028. Now, this is a huge deal, and that's why it's making the rounds on the internet. And to me, I find the news is quite bad. It's basically gamers' backlash against PlayStation. But I'm a little weirded out, shocked by where some of this backlash is coming from. There's at least one PC gamer YouTuber out there who has commented extensively on this, but I don't really know why. And it's because, well, PC has had no physical release for a very, very long time now. Now, I say a very, very long time because I remember days when they used to sell physical PC games, but that's all gone. And I'm not sure why some commentators whose, I guess, focus on PC gaming mostly is even having a comment about this, because having no physical releases for their games is kind of par for the course. So I think some of that backlash for against Sony may not come from a genuine place. Almost, it's almost like some of these folks they just jumping on a bandwagon. Oh, it's popular to hate Sony, so even though I've got no skin in the game, I'm still gonna say something bad about Sony not selling the discs. Now, I find that weird, and I don't know how genuine the backlash is. I suspect that there are some really, really genuine concerns out there, but I'm not sure it's all coming from the proper places. And what's funny to me is that I think, look, I'm going to have to be honest and say that, and a lot of comments I hear say the same thing, that the writing has been on the wall for quite some time. A lot of people are not buying physical copies anymore, and a lot of them have moved over to digital, so to a lot of people, this shouldn't come as a surprise, but the backlash is still huge. And I think it has to do with timing. Because, oh man, I still remember back when the PS4 was launching alongside the Xbox One? Remember that one? Right? The Xbox wanted to go digital, fully digital, no disc. And then Sony pushed back hard. Gamers pushed back hard, and Sony backed the gamers. There was a really funny commercial where they say, here's how to share a Sony PlayStation 4 game. And it's just like one person handing another person a disc, right? But now it's Sony PlayStation that's saying, oh, we're not going to have any more discs anymore. So it's a little weird. I guess maybe it's not a surprise because the trend is moving in that direction. But it's almost like Sony announced this, and it's just bad timing. I mean, let's look at Microsoft for a sec. Microsoft did not announce their discontinuation of physical game releases, though the rumor has it that they are also going to announce that for their next console, that it will be completely free of any sort of disk drive, They will still have a hard drive, just not at this drive, right? But Microsoft is sort of they kind of curated themselves away from physical releases, because these days Xbox diehards, well, guess what? They're also Game Pass subscribers. So throughout the years, ever since the launch of the Xbox Game Pass, it's like they've been training the Xbox gamer base to basically buy Game Pass and not buy games. Like that seems to be the training to me. So when if Xbox decides to go the way the Sony is doing, oh, not gonna have any more discs, I don't think the backlash should be huge at all, because the player base is already weaned off physical discs. They're all on Game Pass. I'm betting you the vast majority of them are on Game Pass, and why not? I mean, it's a great deal if you're an Xbox fan. All the day one releases automatically go on Game Pass. You never have to buy a brand new game again, unless it's Call of Duty. They're stopping that. No more Call of Duty day one, but everything else I believe is still day one. So Xbox equals Game Pass equals no physical discs. And I already discussed PC, right? PC has had no physical discs of any kind for a very, very, very long time. I still remember the day when Steam was first announced. Valve used to be a game developer, and then they launched Steam as a online store for games. And back then there weren't many takers, and I think they only launched the Steam store with like 10 games. Not a lot, not compared to the millions they have today. But the thing about PC gamers and their culture is that they're always ahead of the technological curve, right? Die-hard PC gamers are always the ones fiddling with the newest technology, the latest graphics cards, they love messing with the machines, right? So it's no surprise to me that PC games are the first games to go fully digital, because that's their culture. The new thing is downloading from the internet. If the new thing may even be streaming, cloud, well, the PC gamers are probably the first people to try it, and they like it, they stick with it. Clearly, they like digital, so they stick with it. So PC gamers don't really have skin in the game almost, right? They're so used to being digital that I'm not sure why there aren't many of them making fun of people who insist on digital, because that's their culture. So we've got Xbox and we've got PC gamers whose culture it is that it's pretty much non-physical, all digital, all the time. That's just in their culture. So basically, if you want to go pure play video game consoles, the biggest players out there is gonna left is Sony and Nintendo, that are still, as part of their culture, embracing physical discs or game cartridges, right? And I think a lot of people jumped on either Sony or Nintendo or both because they believe in the physical format. I believe a lot of gamers, they don't play on PC. They don't have an Xbox, probably because of the culture of digital all the time. So they probably jumped onto Sony's PlayStation, onto Nintendo Switch, right, in the hopes that physical will continue because that's their bread and butter. And I think that's where Sony stepped on a landmine. I think Sony is they underestimated how much of a refuge their system offers for people who love physical releases. That's my impression. Physical gamers love Sony and Nintendo because they're the two last bastions where they can get their games on a physical format. So when Sony decides to cut game disc releases 2028, there's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of feelings of being betrayed because people took refuge there. And now they're kind of getting kicked out. Yes, statistics indicate that they are in the minority, but that's also why they are there in the PlayStation ecosystem, because they want physical. Now they've been betrayed. So now, after 2027, Nintendo is the only physical game in town. But Nintendo isn't exactly guilty. I'm pretty sure, like just a few months ago, maybe only even like a month or two ago, Nintendo announced that, I think for the first party games anyway, that the digital version would be cheaper. Or more accurately, the digital version would be the correct price, and the physical one would be more expensive. I believe it's $10 more expensive. Man, I wish I did more research now, but I'm very, very sure that's what I read, that's what I heard. There was backlash to that too, but not as much. And I think it's because the culture of physical game collectors, they're rather price inelastic. What that means is that they're willing to shell out top dollar if it means owning their games. And I've seen that with the price of games. Sometimes I would be interested in a game. Like I would be, I don't know, browsing an online retail store that sells video games. And I would see a game that's like, oh wow, this game looks good. And then I would look at the price and go, wait a minute. Then I check on, say, the PlayStation Store, and sure enough, the PlayStation Store is cheaper. The physical copy is actually more expensive. So I think when Nintendo did that whole, oh, physical copies are going to be more expensive, there's a good chance that the physical loving gamer base maybe just shrug their shoulders and go, yeah, that's kind of par for the course. Because that's what I see. I see physical games, like physical versions of indie games or whatnot, they are priced higher physically than in a digital store. So I think anybody who's used to buying physical is also used to that disparity. It's kind of sad. It should be more fair. It should be more even. But I understand physical games cost more because there's actual material in it. So when Nintendo decided to make their physical games more expensive, the backlash probably wasn't as big because physical collectors are kind of used to, I hate to say it, getting the shaft just because of their passion for physical media. And back to Sony again, they've betrayed a lot of people. A lot of people trusted Sony. They went onto their platform because they feel that they offer some of the best games out there and they still have the option to buy physical. And now that's being taken away. And I think that's where the real anger comes from. That's where the real people, the real backlash comes from. Those who feel betrayed. And now there's even less options. And personally, for my story, I did invest in physical games. So when the Sony PS5 first came out, I paid extra for the disc edition. Because at that time, even though I was mostly a digital gamer by that time. Full disclosure, I'm still a digital gamer. But even then, I wasn't willing to fully give up physical. So I shelled out extra money for a disc version of the PS5. And when I got myself a PlayStation 5 Pro, yep, I bought the add-on disk drive and connected the two together. I'm probably one of the few people who did that, but that's what I did. That's how physical media is ingrained in my psyche. Realistically, though, I barely made use of the disk drives. I think the only PS5 physical game I bought is Dead or Alive Venus Vacation Prism. That's a long name, but that's what it is. Dead or Alive Venus Vacation Prism. I think that's what it's called. And the reason why I bought that is because I can't download it. I live in North America, and that game never officially released in North America, so I actually had to pay a retailer to import it and ship it to me. And that's literally the only disc game I popped into my PlayStation 5 Pro. And that's a little bit sad. Another physical release that I bought wasn't even for me. I bought my wife as Christmas present, even though it didn't ship until like April. So missed Christmas by 4 months. I bought my wife a copy of, from Lost in Cult, I bought her a copy of, oh man, what's that game called? Thank Goodness You're Here. That's right, the game is called Thank Goodness You're Here. I bought that physical for my wife for her birthday, for her Christmas present. Turned out to, it even missed her birthday, I think. Yeah, so and that's it. Those are the two games I bought physical for PS5. So you can say this, I don't really have that much skin in game. I buy a lot more physical for Switch. I actually have one on pre-order right now for Switch that will ship in October, I think. So I'm still in the physical ecosystem, but mostly for the Switch, not so much for PlayStation. So I hate to say it, I'm one of those people who don't really have that much skin in the game. Though if they ever have a game that I really want and doesn't have a North American release, I will regret. I will regret what I'm saying here now. But it's rare, very rare. But I do have sympathy for people who will miss the physical edition and are really upset at Sony. I really do sympathize with that. And here's why I try to turn it to spirituality a little bit. So a lot of the spiritual teachings these days say that we're all in a time of great change. And that, sure enough, you look around the world, there's a lot of change. And spiritual teachings also say it's a time of letting go. These days, we just simply have to let go of whatever it is that does not serve us. And I never thought I'd see it, but it looks like those two teachings is converging now, right here with the PlayStation news. Because a lot of times I see in like YouTube comments or Facebook comments of people saying, well, I guess I just saved a lot of money now from buying video games. And it's heavily implied that, no physical, no games. They ain't gonna play. They're bowing out. Or maybe they're just gonna switch and play a whole lot less. And I think that type of thinking fits with the spiritual themes. Things are getting shaken up, and there may be things you need to let go of. And if the physical games market, or Sony PlayStation in specific, is not serving you, then yes, it might be time to let go and quit. And to those people who do, I say congratulations. I think you know what you're doing. You have a good head on your shoulders. Only you can answer for yourself. You think for yourself, and I think it's great. As for my part, well, I'm a console gamer, and to me, it seems like this Sony PlayStation news that they're not going to have physical anymore, I think it might have a negative impact on them as a company, as a console manufacturer. PlayStation 6 is still very uncertain, very up in the air, and there's a good chance that PS5 might be the last PlayStation generation. And despite PlayStation's recent announcement, I'm still in love with them. I grew up with them for a great deal of my life. I have a great deal of respect for their games. I'm a fan. Yeah, this thing might just drive them under, and my promise to myself regarding letting go of things is that if PlayStation ever bites the dust, I'm going to be in the exact same place as the people that are boycotting PlayStation and saving money by not buying any more games. Because if PlayStation goes, I might quit games entirely. That's how I feel. I love Nintendo too, but their games are not the same as the PlayStation kind. You know what I mean? Gamers know. There's a big difference between Nintendo and Sony just has this vibe that I jive with a whole lot more, way more than Microsoft, way more than PC. I don't even play on them anymore. I used to. Right now, I only play Switch and PlayStation. So PlayStation goes, I just might join those boycotters right now. I just might join those people who decided, yep, gaming's not for me anymore. I'm out. So that's kind of a promise I made for myself. So I kind of understand how letting go of gaming feels for people who do feel betrayed. It's tough and it's hard. But I think if you want to do it, I think that is great. I think that's standing up for yourself. I think that's thinking for yourself. And I encourage it. Well, this video has been going on a very long time now, so I'll stop. If you like what I just said, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. smash that like button, and I will see you next time. Peace. Bye.